Hello, and welcome to Far, Far West. A game where you run around and shoot everything that moves in a dusty and sometimes not dusty map. The main premise of the game is that you are a bounty hunter sent into dangerous areas of the far, far west to battle these undead creatures called cryptics. In the process of killing hundreds of them, you harvest their souls and instill them into yourself in order to grow stronger before they can worm their way back into the afterlife to live happily ever after. You know, the typical cowboy robot experience. I should preface all of this with saying that everything that's in this video is being written and recorded while the game is fresh off release and still in early access. So I don't apologize if anything in this video is wrong. You're the one who's wrong. Got that? Good. The bread and butter of this game is, as in most games, the weapons. And as of now, that means guns. Lots of guns. The list of guns is broken up into two categories, main weapons and secondaries. Your main weapons consist of the usual fully automatic guns, shotguns, snipers, miniguns, and my beloved lever action. The secondaries are also quite simple. You have a revolver, a bow and arrow, dual revolvers, a boomerang, whatever, and sheriff stars? Who came up with this shit? Doesn't matter. Each of the weapons play wildly different than one another, and I wouldn't say any of them are better than any of the others. My bias obviously lies with the lever action, if you couldn't tell that, as I am quite the marksman. Now, when it comes to secondaries, some are definitely better than others, but I feel none cover all the bases that the starter revolver does. Solid damage, a fast reload and fire rate, and the ability to suck the life from your enemies to sustain yourself. As revolvers typically do. All weapons have an upgrade tree, and if you could believe it, some upgrades are better than others on some weapons. Which ones? Fuck if I know. I just shove all my upgrades into damage and fire rate and hope I kill whatever it is in front of me before I even register what unholy creation it is. All upgrades for weapons are done in gold, which drops from all sorts of resources. Enemies, veins, chests, your normal means of collecting loot in video games. But about that whole soul harvesting thing I was talking about before. Souls are used as currency to buy perks called jokers. Each weapon has the same amount of joker slots at the start that can only be unlocked as you level up the gun. But once you've unlocked those slots, you can stick whatever bullshit you want on it. Do you want your gun to shoot faster every time you shoot? You can do that. Do you want your gun to reload at the speed of light and kill everything in front of you just by moving so fast you create a gap in the air and make a tornado? You can do that. Not really, but it does look funny. And do you want your gun to make chicken noises? You can do that. Why would you want to? Why should I fucking know? Do I look like some kind of know-it-all? Mind your own fucking business for once, and stop asking questions. Now that we've got the basics of the guns out of the way, we can move over to what most of your money will probably be going to, your hero upgrades. Now these function about identically to how your weapon upgrades work. You can upgrade your health, speed, jump height, and however much ammo you can hold. But to be honest, that's not all that interesting because in almost every build, you're better off just having health, speed, and cooldowns maxed out. The real interesting aspects of the hero upgrades come in the form of jokers. This is where builds are truly made. Do you want to cut your health bar in half to nearly double your damage? Go ahead. Just don't come whining to me when you die after stubbing your toe. The sky is the limit with the builds you can create, but if you really want to start becoming overpowered, you want to look to your spells. As all cowboys did back in the day, you can bring an array of spells in your missions to deal massive damage to whatever you pointed at. These spells range from a fireball, a bit of acid, a little cactus mine, and the wrath of Thor crashing down on any unsuspecting cryptic below. Now, while some spells are objectively more powerful than others when you look at them in the simplest way, any of these spells can be used in any number of builds to create a level of effectiveness you'd never expect. And the fact the spells get this powerful at only level 38 leads me to believe we'll be opening our own domains in the near future. Now that we've gone over all this setup, we can talk about the actual gameplay of the game. This starts with the enemies. Currently, there are two factions of enemies in the game, Cryptics and Marauders. While the Cryptics appear to be somewhat fully realized, the Marauders only have a simple infantry class that you'll run into every so often. The simplest of the Cryptics are the Grunts, your run-of-the-mill undead skeleton whose numbers will be stripped away under the single pull of a trigger. Only a little bit more of a threat than them is the Kamikazes. Canonically, they are so stupid they can't even be trusted to use a gun, so they're strapped to a bomb and told to run at you screaming. Now that's an American hero. Arguably, the weakest of the Cryptic forces are the Ravens, big glowing birds that shoot shit at you and die to a gust of wind. Now we move up the ranks to Cryptics that actually wield weapons. The Sheriffs are basically glorified grunts with barely any extra health and a gun with bullets that move at the pace of shit out of a constipated asshole. Next on the list are the Snakes. They're masochists who like to get slapped. Moving on. Prowlers are Wolverine wannabes who do a surprising amount of damage. It's almost like they have claws the size of your body. Next on the list are Bombers. They're just sheriffs who wield massive dynamite throwers that get off to making you mess up tasks by moving you by a few inches. And by far the most annoying of this tier of Cryptics is the Minigunner. They don't even do that much damage, nor do they have that much health. It's just they scream like the Kamikazes, but unlike the Kamikazes, they don't detonate right before it starts becoming annoying. The next rank of Cryptics starts with the Barricade. A pretty big shield-wielding Cryptic that have the glaring weakness of a massive gap in the wood where you can blow the skull off their shoulders. After that, we have a Buffalo. It's a Buffalo, and they're annoying. The next one is an interesting one. It's a walking nuke. Shoot it and it goes boom. Outside of that, they're harmless and more of a tool for you than the enemies. The scariest and biggest of this rank is the Lich. The floating demon thing that loves to play jump rope. Surprisingly, not that much of a threat. And for the final rank of fodder Cryptics before the bosses you have are the Deadeyes and the Horsemen. Deadeyes are annoying pieces of shit that I want dead. They fly up in the sky with their snipers and literally do not miss unless you put one between their eyes. The Horseman, on the other side, is one of the cooler enemies in the game. Flying in on a horse and summoning ghost versions of themselves, along with non-aimbot beams that only piss me off a little. But with that, the typical enemies you'll run into out in the wild are covered. Now, on to the bosses. As of writing this, there are 4 total bosses, and all of them are from the Cryptic faction. I'll go from easiest to hardest. The easiest boss is the Saloon. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's ripped straight out of Monster House, and now it's flying around trying to burn you alive. After that is the Train, a flying train that is trying to kill you. Surprising, am I right? Now, I would rank this one below the Saloon if it weren't for the lasers that show up in Phase 2 on harder difficulties. And on their own, they aren't all that scary, but with the ads distracting you, they can get you off guard pretty bad. But onto the 2 bosses that will actually give you a bit of challenge. The Necromancer is a giant scythe-wielding Cryptic that can do a load of damage, but also likes to just linger around in one spot, which leaves it wide open for attacks. But for the hardest boss there is, it's gotta be the Vulture. Similarly to the Necromancer, it just sits in the middle of the arena, but it has some attacks that can just outright kill you if you're below half health. The Tornado comes out fast as hell and melts you if you don't move quickly. Its shield can be wildly annoying if the skulls are on top, and the Slam attack can bite you in the ass if there are too many ads around. But ultimately, none of them are so hard that it'd be a run killer. But now that we've gone over the enemies, I can talk about what you actually do in the game. The basic gameplay loop boiled down to its most simplest aspects is like most other roguelikes. You move around the map, moving from POI to POI, gathering up power until you think you're strong enough to take on the final boss. But it's a little different here in Far Far West. You don't really need to do any of that, because the bosses are sometimes easier than the hordes of fodder. If you just rush the main objective on even the hardest of difficulties, it will be easier than trying to fully clear a map. But that's boring and doesn't make it so I shoot so fast the barrel of my gun looks like a blown out hot dog. The side objectives are really well designed. They range from gathering local ores, squashing infected pumpkins, and rounding up cows. There's a lot of variety in them, and none of them overstay their welcome or feel too boring. On the topic of objectives, there are an array of main objectives that come with every mission. You can do something as simple as get a key, make some TNT, or you can shoot a nuke or a giant laser at the boss spawner. really makes you wonder why history books don't cover this stuff when it so clearly existed back then. Now, like I said before, this is all in early access, so stuff is bound to change, but at the moment, the main villain in control of the Cryptic forces is the Cryptic Overseer. During missions, it'll taunt you with some pretty funny dialogue that also breaks the fourth wall. There is so much to explore and discover about this game, and I haven't even covered the half of it. There is so much more to go over, but to be honest, I don't want to edit all of that. So unless this video goes crazy and I get DMs from super hot single ladies, I will probably still make more videos on this game no matter what. But, yeah. Bye.